my theory is that the PM title, especially for earlier stage like tech companies, is kind of like a catch-all title that people have used. The same way people like, in the early years of a startup, there's only two kinds of co-founders. There's the technical co-founder and there's the business co-founder. You could call the business co-founder like whatever you want. They could do whatever functions they want, but at the end of the day, they're also gonna visit all the like shitty startup offices and tour them and like sign the lease. And they're also going to deal with like HR stuff, and they're also going to do everything else. So my theory is that PM has basically become like tech's catch-all for like business things that the engineers and, designer like doesn't want to deal with. And because of that, we've seen like a tremendous evolution of the PM title over the last 15 plus years, at least that I've been, what was in the Bay Area, where in the early days, it was much more like kind of a project management role. And it was much more in a world of not lean startup. It was the actual like Gantt charts and delivery, schedules and all of that. And often not necessarily the person that was doing the product like feature kind of picking as part of it. Then I think it evolved, interestingly enough, into a world of like more UX and more kind of like, what's the best product that we can do, and became much more about product picking. And then I think in recent years, we saw it become much more about growth stuff, right? I mean, there was a period where it really, really felt like you really needed to have a separate growth team and have growth marketers and like this and that. And then I think maybe to the victory of, everyone that worked on user growth and monetization and everything from 10 years ago, I think that now if you are PM, you're interviewing for PM job and you don't understand D30 and DAO MAO and all this other stuff, like you're not going to be, like that's just part of the vernacular now. So part of the interesting question is like, yeah, what happens next? And so I think in the version where it just continues to evolve and the PMs like do all the meetings that a lot of the other teams like don't want to do, because like no engineer wants to be stuck doing the PM job, which is like you literally are doing email while running between meetings, 30-minute meetings, like in your office, like slot after slot after slot for 8 hours, followed by 3 hours of email. I mean, that's what most like FANG PM jobs actually look like. Nobody wants that job. Although maybe Fareed, maybe your argument would be that's because there's too many PMs. And so they're creating this war of attrition between all the teams in terms of expectations. And then I think, the other interesting angle that I'm very curious about is if a lot of kind of this no code movement continues and no code's even more expressive and PMs can do more and more and more. I mean, there was a world where it used to be that in order to even build the marketing website for your SaaS company, you needed the engineers to prioritize that and do its own thing. And then now it's like, you kind of expect that an agency runs it and it's a CMS and the marketing team can kind of make their own edits, and they might even copy and paste some JavaScript code to like do their own analytics. But, kind of an interesting question to me is like, what if that continues? What if you get to a point where the PMs / the marketing team can actually build and define the sign-up funnel? What if they can do everything related to the notification system without, engineers? Like, do you get to a point where more of these business roles can actually do more and more product stuff separate from the engineering teams themselves?